Your soundbar is probably not broken. You may have one setting turned on right now that is quietly flattening your audio, killing your bass, or making dialogue sound thin and unnatural. And you would never know it unless someone pointed it out. Today we are going through the exact settings that ruin soundbar performance, and more importantly, the fast fixes that can make your system sound dramatically better without spending a single dollar on new equipment. Before we get into it, drop a comment below telling me which soundbar you own and whether you have ever changed the default settings since you bought it. I read every comment. And if practical setup content like this helps you, hit subscribe and leave a like. It genuinely helps this channel grow. The real problem. Your soundbar is not the issue. Let us start with the most important thing to understand. When a soundbar sounds flat, muddy, harsh, or unimpressive, the instinct is to blame the hardware. But in the majority of cases, the soundbar itself is perfectly capable. It is just being held back by settings that were either configured incorrectly from the start or left at defaults that were never designed to work well in your specific room. This applies to budget bars and premium systems equally. A Samsung HWQ990F or a Sonos ARC Ultra can sound genuinely disappointing when the wrong settings are active. A Hisense AX5140Q or a Sonos Beam Gen 2 can sound significantly better than you expect once the right adjustments are made. The hardware is only half the equation. The settings are the other half, and this video is about fixing that second half right now. Bad setting 1. Dialogue enhancement pushed too far. Dialogue enhancement is one of the most commonly misused features on modern soundbars, and it causes more audio disappointment than almost any other single setting. The idea behind it is genuinely useful. Voice boost and dialogue enhancement modes are designed to lift speech frequencies so that voices are clearer and easier to follow, especially at lower volume levels. Used carefully, they do exactly that. The problem is that most people either leave this setting at its highest level or never think about it at all. And at extreme levels, dialogue enhancement strips the warmth and body out of the entire audio presentation. Voices start to sound thin and almost hollow. The mids lose their fullness and natural richness. The overall sound feels harsh and fatiguing in a way that makes long viewing sessions genuinely unpleasant to sit through. The fix is simple. Turn dialogue enhancement down or off entirely for most content. If you're watching a film with a full dynamic soundtrack, you almost certainly do not need it active at all. If you're watching quiet content late at night where voices genuinely feel hard to follow at your preferred volume, bring it up gradually, but do not default to maximum just because the option exists. Less is almost always more with this particular feature. Bad setting 2. Using the wrong sound mode. Sound modes exist to optimize audio processing for different types of content, and using the wrong one can make a great soundbar sound completely wrong for whatever you are actually watching. Using game mode while watching a film compresses the dynamic range in ways that were never intended for cinematic audio. Using sport mode during a drama strips out low frequencies and pushes mids forward in a way that makes ambient sound and music feel hollow and unrealistic. Using voice mode as a permanent default is one of the most common mistakes. It is designed specifically for spoken dialogue, not for the full frequency range of a film soundtrack or a music session. For most general listening, standard mode is the safest and most honest setting because it applies the least processing and lets the audio arrive closest to what the creators intended. For films and television drama, movie mode typically applies appropriate levels of surround enhancement without going overboard. Adaptive mode, available on some systems, adjusts automatically based on what is playing and works well for households where the television handles many different content types throughout the day. The rule is simple. Match the sound mode to what you are actually watching, and revisit it when the content changes significantly. Bad setting 3. Night mode left on by default. Night mode is a genuinely useful feature for its intended purpose. It compresses the dynamic range so that sudden loud effects do not disturb others while you watch late at night. The problem is that many people turn it on once and simply forget to turn it off, leaving their soundbar in a permanently compressed and dynamically reduced state for every piece of content they ever watch afterward. When night mode is active during a normal daytime film viewing session, explosions and dramatic score moments feel small and underwhelming. The sound never builds to the peaks it was designed to reach. The whole experience feels like something is being held back because something literally is. The Samsung HWQ990D, the JBL Bar 1000 MK2, and virtually every modern soundbar with night mode will show you somewhere in the display or app whether it is currently active. Check right now and make sure it is turned off unless you genuinely need it for the situation you are in. Bad setting 4. Bad EQ adjustments. The built-in equalizer on most soundbars gives you the ability to boost or cut specific frequency ranges. And while this can be a powerful tool when used thoughtfully, it is very easy to make adjustments that quietly damage your listening experience without realizing what went wrong. The two most common mistakes are boosting treble too aggressively and cutting bass too deeply. Excessive treble boost makes high frequencies harsh, brittle, and fatiguing over time. Sibilance in speech becomes unpleasant, and the overall sound feels edgy and thin rather than detailed and extended. Cutting bass too deeply removes the warmth and weight from the audio, leaving a presentation that sounds technically clean but lacks any emotional impact or physical presence during film viewing. If you have made EQ adjustments that you are no longer happy with, the cleanest fix is to reset everything to flat or factory default and start fresh. Make adjustments one frequency at a time in small increments, testing each change against content you know well before moving on. Bad setting 5. TV speaker still active. This is a mistake many people make without realizing it, and it creates a confusing and degraded audio experience that is difficult to diagnose unless you know exactly what to look for. When a soundbar is connected to a television and the TV's built-in speakers are still active simultaneously, both the soundbar and the TV speakers are producing audio at the same time. The result is a muddy and phase-confused sound where two audio sources compete rather than work together. Dialogue feels diffuse and difficult to localize precisely on screen. The overall imaging collapses in a way that no amount of EQ adjustment will fix, because the problem is two separate sources playing at once rather than a single incorrectly configured one. The fix is to go into your television's audio settings and make sure the built-in speakers are set to off or routed exclusively through the connected external audio system. Every major TV brand has this option somewhere in the sound or output menu. Take 60 seconds to confirm it is correctly set, and you may be genuinely surprised by the immediate improvement in your soundbar's clarity. Bad setting 6. Wrong connection, limiting your format. If your television and your soundbar both support HD eARC, and you are still connected through an optical cable, you are capping the audio quality the system is capable of delivering right now. Optical cables cannot carry the full uncompressed Dolby Atmos or higher quality audio formats that premium soundbars are specifically designed to process and decode. What arrives at a soundbar like the Samsung HWQ990F or the Sonos Beam Gen 2 through an optical connection is a downgraded version of the signal those systems were built to handle at their best capability. Switch to HDMI ARC whenever both devices support it. If only ARC is available without the enhanced version, that is still better than optical for most common audio formats. One cable swap to the correctly labeled HDMI port on your TV can immediately unlock better format support and a more complete surround presentation without changing anything else about your setup. The Fast Reset Checklist. Here is the quick checklist you can run right now before this video ends. Turn dialogue enhancement to low or off for normal film and television content. Switch to the correct sound mode for what you are actually watching. Check that night mode is turned off during standard viewing. Reset your EQ to flat and only make small deliberate adjustments from that neutral starting point. Confirm that your TV's built-in speakers are disabled in the audio output menu. And verify that you are using HDMI ARC or eARC rather than an optical cable if your equipment supports it. Work through that list tonight and your soundbar will likely sound better than it ever has, without buying a single new component. That is every setting that is quietly killing your soundbar audio and the fast fix for each one. Drop a comment below telling me which of these was the hidden problem in your setup. Hit like if this video helped you, subscribe so you do not miss the next one, and I will see you in the next video.